Hello and welcome to my first ever video review for YouTube. I'm going to talk about the Nokia Lumia 1520 handset. It's relatively new, only sort of a few months on the market, and it's been upgrade time for me for a while now, and I've been looking for my next handset. My last one was a Lumia 920, so I'd looked at the 925, I'd looked at the 1020, and as nice as they were, and the 1020 had that stunning camera, they didn't really offer anything dramatically different in terms of an experience for me from the 920, so I decided to stay put and see what Nokia did next. And this is what they did next. The phablet, their first foray into this sort of form factor of device. Now I have to say I'd been quite dismissive of phablets in the past. I'd sort of mocked the idea of someone holding this huge brick up to the side of their head to make a phone call. It's like being back in the 1980s again. I didn't see the point. I didn't really understand why you would need something of this size. And as interested as I was in the 1520, I'd sort of thought, well, it's too big. I don't need something like that. I'll wait. There weren't really any knocking around in any of the stores I'd been in for quite some time, and when I'd asked about it, most of the time I'd get these sort of blank looks from the teenagers who worked in the stores. Although I think, to be fair, that's probably just their regular faces. However, I went into an O2 store a couple of weeks ago, and they'd got these in, on display, ready to use and have a bit of play with. So, had a look at it. My first time sort of getting my hands on one, and tried it all out for size. And when I say tried out for size, literally, I sort of tried the device in the hand. I tried working the device, tried holding it, moving it, put it in my pocket, and so on. So I gave it a good going over, and very quickly realised that I actually quite liked it. I sort of got beyond the whole size aspect of it very, very quickly. And I think that's the thing about this, is once you start using it and playing with it, you can't help but be struck by the sort of design, the looks, the display, the size, the clarity of everything. It sort of takes you in very, very quickly. And within a matter of minutes, you're used to working with something that is significantly bigger than what you've had before. In fact, I'm recording this video on the 920, but if I use the case from it and just put it alongside, you can get an idea of the size differences between these two devices. The case, in fact, will almost just fit entirely inside that one. So it is a much bigger device than anything I was used to before. Like I said, played around with it, got used to it, put it in my pocket. I was surprised that in my pocket it wasn't as bad as I thought. There was still room in there. I mean, it is slimmer than the 920, so that does help. Weight-wise, I sort of think they're about the same. I can't feel any significant difference in the hand for them. But it was in the pocket, quite comfortable, and as I pointed out to the poor embarrassed girl who was working in O2, you couldn't see the bulge of my trousers. So always helpful when talking to young ladies you don't know. But it is a nice thing. The screen is without a doubt rather gorgeous. It's a very, very sharp, clear, vibrant colour display. All this extra real estate, the additional column of live tiles is really useful, and pretty much everything you do on this thing looks good. I've used Netflix on it, and it's pretty stunning in terms of display clarity, and that viewing experience with just that larger display makes everything so much easier. Writing text, doing your emails, looking at your calendar, the few apps that I use, everything is just easier. Even using the camera and the video recording, the whole process becomes simpler to work with in this sort of format. I even tried using it for running a PowerPoint presentation, and you can read what's going on. So as a sort of a productivity tool, it's pretty good. You've got all the best of both worlds. You've got the phone capabilities, which people sort of have a joke about the idea of holding one of these things up to your ear to make a phone call, and the fact that it is quite chunky. But I sort of realised that I don't make that many phone calls in comparison to doing things like texting or emailing. That's what I do most of the time with this device. If I'm at work, no one's really phoning me on my mobile, so it's only my leisure time that I need it. Now, admittedly, you can probably see from my hands that, it's not a one-handed device, so you cannot use this thing one-handed unless you've got sort of freaky kind of hands like a butcher. No offence to any butchers out there. I think you do great work. In particular, I like your bacon. But it is a two-handed device. You need to hold it with one, and then use the other hand to navigate and work with it. If you're the sort of person who likes to walk around town texting with your head down and not looking where you're going, this device is not going to be right for you. Equally, it's probably not an extreme sports companion device. It's just going to be too big. You know, you can't run with this thing in your pocket. Having said that, when was the last time I ever needed to run? I kind of think you only ever run if you're being chased or chasing someone. I don't plan on doing any of those, so running, not really an issue for me. As I said, it is big. You do get used to it very, very quickly. And the thing is, once you start using this, if you go back to a smaller handset, it just feels too small. So I've used the 920 a couple of times now after having this one, and the display feels so tiny and restrictive. So it's amazing how much of a difference this does make. I mean, as you can see, I went for the glossy red colour. There we go, in all its glory. It's not for everyone. It is quite a vibrant sort of statement. And, you know, the white colour I had a look at. White colour is really, really nice, actually. I looked at the black as well, and the black is just kind of dull. I don't really see the point in going for a device of this sort of scale, and I suppose drama is a good word for it, and then trying to have an understated colour. There's no way this handset is ever going to be understated. It is big, bold, brash, showy, vibrant. So I went for a colour I felt brought that out of it. And you know, red certainly is pretty eye-catching. You can't take this out of your pocket without people giving you a strange look to see what on earth is that they're doing. Maybe also worried about my health in case I strain a muscle lifting it up. But I think these are great. It's a beautiful handset, really nice. I've been living with it for a week or now, and it's easy. You just adjust, you get used to it. It isn't a problem. The only gripe I have about the whole handset is I wish they'd brought a stylus out for it, but that's nitpicking, and that is purely me looking at how I would use it rather than how other people might do. I can't recommend this thing enough, so if you are interested, I really do recommend though that you go and try one out first, because it, like I said, won't be for everybody. Some people will just find it to be too big. I'm sure there'll be some smaller versions coming out soon, that little halfway point between these large phablets and your regular style of phone. You know, you'll also notice that I haven't really done much talking about all the hardware and the features and capabilities of it. There are enough reviews out there that already do that, so I just wanted to look at this idea of, you know, you got one of these things, how does it feel? How is it to hold? I find it really, really nice. I like the unibody design. Not everybody does. People like rounded corners. I kind of like the fact that it's different. I always think the Nokia line is stand out in terms of how it looks in comparison to a lot of the others that are quite similar. So that's pretty much it for now. So if you've got any comments, please feel free to leave them. Hopefully not too abusive. And thanks for listening.